Welcome to thestockminer.com. I'm Brian Johnson. We had, more of the same. Little move to the upside and then a big move to the downside in the afternoon. I did mention to you guys, if you watched my weekend video, I hope you all did, anything over 11,450, I said I was not sold on that move in the Dow. I was pretty sure it would happen. We would get up over this 450-ish area, but I wasn't convinced we'd stay there very long. We didn't even make the 11,500 mark once we did, and most of the move this morning happened on a little gap up to start the day. Bled upwards a little bit before the big fall towards the end of the day. Oh, I know everybody's going to be waiting for me to say, okay, get bearish, but I can't do it. I'm just not there. Um, if you're an Elliottician type person, I could see this as a 1, 2, 3. This could just be 4 before a 5 up. There's a lot of economic news coming out tomorrow, and PPI numbers are out tomorrow. Retail sales are out tomorrow. Based on what I've seen, I'm having a hard time believing that those numbers will be anything but half decent. The market hasn't allowed really any really bad news to A, come into the market, or B, affect it anyway. Uh, Job losses from 9.6 to 9.8% unemployment in the market went, yeah, who cares? So why would anything else be different? So anyway, we'll wait till tomorrow morning to try to get some confirmation. But as we see here, up and over 11,450. Yes, it's time for a pullback. Maybe I'm getting a little bit contrarian here from the standpoint of this could have been the high and now we're looking at coming back down, but I don't think I am. I just playing what the charts are giving me, and to be honest with you guys, I just think that there's still, until we get confirmation, a good chance that we could go right back up again, put in one more high. Then when we roll over and start to get what we got this afternoon, I'll be a little bit more convinced. But I really think there's just a 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a 5 brewing. Sometimes these last fives don't come when you think they will. So it's anybody's guess at this point. I guess if I just go back to what I had been telling you, it was I'd be very cautious to the long side right here. I'd be more apt to hold overnight to the short side if I was even going to hold overnight. Monday into Tuesday, I said might be the only time to do it, but we obviously didn't accelerate into the close. So we'll wait. Tomorrow the Fed talks as well. That's always a market mover, so the markets will move a little bit in the morning, whether it's up or down, then they'll go flatline until the Fed talks, and then the fireworks may or may not happen. They usually do. It gets a little busy, and then it'll move from there. So tomorrow is really the big day for me. That's really kind of the more telling day for me from a trading standpoint. Dow daily, you can see the wick going up and above. Not quite as indicative of what we saw of the price movement. It's better shown on a 60-minute, but point being, we made a new high up here. We did get above this area, 11,480-ish, before being pulled down in the afternoon. NASDAQ 60-minute, all the charts showing the same thing in the afternoon. Showing these big moves to the downside. These could just be to draw in some bears. When you sit around and watch the markets go nowhere for hour after hour after hour, any kind of movement like we saw at the end of the day is very, very easy to succumb to and say, oh, this is it, this is the big one, and then, maybe buy a bunch of puts or something like that, and wake up the next day and go, oh, are you kidding me? So we'll see where this all ends up tomorrow morning with those numbers. I think that'll make a big, big difference in where ultimately we go over the next few days. NASDAQ daily as well, you see the big red candle, gap up, move down all day long. A lot of these gap ups are being met by moves to the downside. I sent out a really quick email to my subscribers this morning telling them exactly that. Watch for the selling to come in as soon as we open. That's what we've seen lately, is a gap up and then a sell off. No different today. Here we are on a weekly. Won't talk about those, way too early for that. SPX 60-minute showing us the same thing, that big move down, but it held. All it did was come back to fill this gap. Still above that 1240. As you can see, in my estimation, here's one, here's the bottom of two. This would be the 3-wave. So now we're just looking at a retrace of this 3-wave, and we really didn't get that far. I mean, yeah, it was pretty powerful and stuff, but yippee-yo, big deal. It wasn't anything that really made me go, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, this is strange. Not certainly nothing major. So, reiterate, tomorrow's numbers I think will make a big difference. SPX daily, same thing, putting in what could be a topping candle, but we've seen them all along the way. You can see lots of little topping candles that have meant absolutamente nada the entire way up. So why should this be any different? Gotta have confirmation before I'm even in the least bit interested in a more major short in the markets. Here today, you see that we were, by the end of it, up a whopping 0%. We didn't go anywhere. So markets are still kind of playing around with this gap fill, but nothing major yet to concern me. We're not down for the day, so I still need some follow through. SPX weekly, same type of thing. Not going to panic about it right in here. It's only Monday. VIX daily saw a move up, but go figure. We're approaching these lower levels down here, but you can see it's nothing major. Who cares? The markets do not care. All these moves in the VIX have been, and this one was pretty in line with what we saw with the markets today. All the VIX is telling us down here is there's still not a lot of fear in the markets. It is getting a little bit weary at the lower side. As you can see, as the VIX moves lower, people are kind of pushing it back up again. But that only creates more room to the downside. When it moves up like this, but not in a major way, it just creates more room to the downside. So we are in a very, very neutral place here. People can dissect it all they want. Truth of the matter is, it is anybody's call at this point. I think those numbers tomorrow are really going to make, I feel, are really going to make the difference. So if we happen to move up, I'm still very, very wary to the upside. Still very wary to the upside. Apple 60-minute got the gap up, and look what it did. Came right back down again. A lot of these gaps being sold right at the start. So very hard to intraday trade Apple. If you guys, were taking spec trades or have been holding Apple for a while, this was a good opportunity to take some profits up in here. Otherwise, very difficult trading in Apple, except right at the end of the day. If you wanted to go short, I guess you could take a quick short into the close. But from a daily standpoint, you can see showing us the same market action as we're seeing all throughout the indices, and that is gap up, move down, gap up, move down, gap up, move. Any gap up is met with just strong selling once again. It's been kind of the MO of the markets over the past few days or so now that we're getting very stretched to the upside. I still tell you to be very wary of Apple long. I have no problem with you going long Apple. Just remember, we're very, very, very stretched up here. Apple Weekly, same thing. I won't worry about it till Friday. FAS finally saw somewhat of a pullback, coming right back down towards this blue line. Not moving much for the most part, though, today. Up and then back down. So kind of creating a little bit of a, I guess if you want to start looking at this as a potential inverse cup and handle, this could be the beginning of a cup, but I'm really just grasping right now. There is not enough information to call that a bearish formation by any means. We're still above this blue line, which means everything's still just fine from the bank side. Here we have a little bit of a move down. You can see from the daily candle it does look bearish. Could potentially be a bearish reversal. I've got to have more information than this. If we can get back below 2650, okay, now maybe we have an opportunity to take a little bit of a short on the FAS. For those of you that are just itching to get short this particular a 3-time ETF, then that's where I would tell you to look first. FAZ, same thing, coming to retest the blue line. So same scenario here till it gets above $10 or this little green 20-period moving average here. I wouldn't tell you to go long. I'd let it get above this area before I'd look for a long. Maybe you can play that back into the 1050-ish area or so. Might be a half decent trade. I think that's what it's going to show us on the daily as well. Get back above that $10. Then I would start looking at 1020 to 1050. 1020, then 1050 for your overhead resistance areas on FAZ. Otherwise, really, guys, I'll be honest, I see no reason to go long the FAZ, and I see no reason to go short the FAS right now. I'm a little bit more conservative trader when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't like trying to catch falling knives. I know a lot of people probably tried right here to get in big time with the FAZ, and then it went down further. So now you might be trying to get in long here with the FAZ, and it might go down further. And all that's going to do is put you in a lot of pain coming into Christmas. Let's try to avoid that. So more conservative traders, let that thing get back above $10. Let's see where we open tomorrow and see if those numbers make any kind of difference whatsoever. And we will see you then, again, as always, tomorrow night. Bye.